This is KFMB, Channel 8, San Diego. I.J. Hudson, Hal Clement on sports, Doug Oliver with the weather. This is the weekend edition of News 8.
After more than 2 days of flames spread by high winds, the destructive brush fires in Los Angeles are finally out tonight. Good evening, it's 11 o'clock, and firefighters say they've contained the last and largest of the fires that burned more than 17,000 acres near the Los Angeles-Ventura County line. But not before flames destroyed 5 houses and a mobile home. A total of 11 homes were destroyed, along with 20,000 acres of brush in a weekend of fires. A fire in Coronado went unchecked for a time today, while firefighters had trouble with their equipment. News 8's Jesse Macias has that story.
The first firefighters to arrive at the garage behind 625 J Street in Coronado found the roof completely ablaze. The fire burned furiously as firefighters tried to connect extension hoses with extreme difficulty. Meanwhile, neighbors did their best to water down their homes. After several minutes, firemen were finally able to put water on the garage. 3 friends were inside the small structure watching Charger football when they noticed smoke.
We just looked up and the whole scene was just on fire. He had sheets on there.
Covering the rafters.
Yeah. And it just went up.
We grabbed the hose, but it didn't work, and by then it was just everywhere. It was just flames. So we just ran and called the fire department.
Fire investigators say the cause of the fire was an electrical short. Damage to the garage, contents, and car is placed at $17,000. Jesse Macias, News 8, Coronado.
There was a brutal murder in Ramona this morning. 22-year-old Maria Casillas, her boyfriend, and her 2-year-old child awoke to the sound of someone trying to enter through a bedroom window. Casillas gathered her child in her arms and went to the phone. As she spoke with an operator trying to get a sheriff's car to the Montecito address, the intruder put her rifle through the bedroom window and shot her in the head. Homicide detectives are searching for the woman's estranged husband for questioning. A Chula Vista youth is in serious condition tonight at Grossmont Hospital after plunging 40 feet while rock climbing. 16-year-old Joseph Janiak was climbing with friends in Mission Gorge when a piton spike gave way, sending Janiak tumbling. Both fire rescue and the Astray helicopter were called in to rescue the youth. Doctors say Janiak has a broken leg, 2 broken wrists, and a broken nose. Things are looking hopeful tonight for Community Hospital in southeast San Diego. You'll recall that the hospital has been shut down, but a takeover of the hospital by National Medical Enterprises of Los Angeles was made official today. Community Hospital will be renamed San Diego Physicians and Surgeons Hospital. More word on the hospital's future is expected tomorrow. A methane gas leak in the North County is still causing problems tonight. The Marine Corps is checking out the possibility that the potentially dangerous gas is leaking into one of its Oceanside housing areas. News 8's Bridget Asaro has the story.
The Marine Corps is digging for answers to whether methane gas from a landfill next to the Sterling housing project is now leaking onto the government property. The Marines are drilling 12 holes along the fence that separates them from the former dump. 10, 20, and 90-foot holes that will be used as monitors.
We're drilling holes every 100 feet, different depths, and in those holes we're sinking 1-inch casing that we're perforating, and the perforations down in the soil, which is decomposed granite and is very porous, will allow any gas that might be seeping through that porous soil to come up into the casings where we can monitor it.
The Marines have been checking for gas with handheld monitors since April. They haven't found any traces of methane in any of the houses or in the yards. They're installing the underground monitors at the advice of an outside engineering company. While the drilling continues, the Marine Corps is working on a contingency plan to decide what to do if they find that methane gas is leaking into the area. The Marine Corps hopes it's a plan that will never have to be put to use. Bridget Asaro, News 8, Oceanside.
Health officials in Fresno County want to cut down on cases of venereal disease. One way they've devised to do that is to give a physical exam to known prostitutes in the area. A prostitute with no venereal disease is then given a card stating so. There's even a plan in the works to arrest and quarantine prostitutes without health cards. When the weekend edition of News 8 continues, workers at another San Diego shipyard hit the picket lines. We'll say goodbye to the San Diego Film Festival with a few familiar faces and tell you why one superhero had a tough time scaling a tall building today. Those stories and more when we come back. More than 500 union workers at Campbell Industries are on strike tonight. The contract for union electricians, carpenters, painters, and machinists expired about 24 hours ago. But for once, the issue apparently isn't money. The workers told me earlier today that they're upset about contract language.
and I would keep my seniority if they did call me back within a year. But now he's trying to do it for 5 months, and he can hold off for 5 months. And if he wants me, he can call me back, but he will pay me as a helper, not as a journeyman. So I'd be losing almost $1.50 an hour. In my seniority. Then I have to start all over, my vacation-wise. You know, to me, it's not fair.
Strikers seem to be happy about the wage offer and say they'll go back to work when all contract language is worked out. Until then, Campbell Industries is shut down. Your postal dollar won't be going as far as it used to. Starting today, the cost of mailing a first-class letter went to 20 cents. Rates on sending packages and other mail went up as well. But there are ways to help you get the most for your money, as we see in this report from News 8's Liz Purcell.
The new, more expensive first-class stamps are available in assorted designs and colors. Only one, with the likeness of White House architect John Hoban, has the denomination printed on it. It now costs 20 cents to mail a letter first class. Of course, almost all postage costs have gone up, but there are ways for individuals and businesses to deal with the increase and make sure they're getting the most for their money.
If they are doing any volume, they can take advantage of the pre-sorting that the post office offers. And what that is you break down by zip code into a 5-digit zip code, and then you qualify to send those pieces, rather than at 20 cents, at 17 cents.
Jim Chestnut is sales manager for Pitney Bowes, a major manufacturer of mailing equipment. He says using the proper weighing devices will save a lot of money.
Come Monday, the first ounce is going to cost 20 cents, and all subsequent ounces are going to cost 17 cents per piece. Therefore, you can see if you have a number of pieces that are 4 and 5 ounces, if you are putting the 20-cent stamps on and not breaking it down to the proper amount of postage, or using the meter and putting the proper amount on, you could be wasting 9 to 12 cents per piece.
Chestnut also advises people to send packages early by parcel post. That is one of the few services that didn't go up. It may take longer, but the cost will be less. And if you're in advertising, Chestnut recommends taking advantage of bulk rate, which is about half as expensive as first class. Consumers won't be able to cut back on the cost of stamps, but they can keep the impact to a minimum. Liz Purcell, News 8.
No reports of casualties or damages yet in central Mexico following a moderate earthquake today. Seismologists in the United States and Mexico gave different readings, from 4.8 on the Richter scale to 5.5. The epicenter was at least 200 miles southeast of Mexico City. President Reagan is back at the White House tonight, preparing to meet with Jordan's King Hussein. They'll be talking tomorrow, reportedly so Mr. Reagan can involve Hussein in the Middle East peace process. And senior U.S. officials said last week that Hussein is considering buying Russian weapons to counter a possible threat from Syria. Here in San Diego County, Tuesday's election is approaching rather quickly. Residents in Coronado are hoping the election will help solve a problem they've been having for a number of years: traffic. News 8's Jesse Macias has the story.
This is what the residents of Coronado see every weekday at peak morning and evening hours. It's been that way ever since the San Diego-Coronado Bay Bridge was built. More than 200,000 cars and trucks now make their way on and off the island each week. The bulk of that traffic goes to naval bases at North Island and the amphibious base. But now more and more residents are demanding a change to the traffic pattern, which sees most of the traffic going up and down 3rd and 4th Avenues. Most of the Coronado City Council candidates are in agreement with that. The Coronado Citizens Committee on Traffic says there are some alternatives.
We don't believe in the first place that any residential street should be carrying this military traffic, because it bucks our residential traffic, our tourist traffic. A portion of the traffic has to be limited, and the Navy can take care of it. They can go back and use the bay. They can start automobile ferries and go from one piece of federal land to another. There are options that they can do. There has been suggestions of tunnels and tubes.
But a tunnel under Coronado would cost more than $100 million, and trying to convince the Navy, Caltrans, and a stingy federal government will take a lot of doing. Davis concedes that changing the traffic pattern for Coronado won't be easy, and it may not be accomplished this time around. But she is hopeful that someday the volume of traffic on 4th Avenue will be just like this on a Friday afternoon. Jesse Macias, News 8, Coronado.
Chicago police arrested a man dressed in a Spider-Man costume today as he tried to climb up the side of the city's John Hancock building. The building is the second tallest in Chicago at 100 stories, but Spider-Man Daniel Goodman was nabbed on the 2nd floor. His suction cups weren't sticking to the building. Last spring, Goodman made it to the top of the Sears Tower in Chicago, and that's the world's tallest building. San Diego Film Festival is now history, and it wound up this evening with a mix of the film and the filmmakers available to answer some questions.
They All Laughed, written and directed by Peter Bogdanovich, and starring such notables as Audrey Hepburn, Ben Gazzara, and John Ritter. Bogdanovich describes the film as just a picture about things that happened to him and his friends. This was its third preview showing, the others at the Venice Film Festival and in San Francisco. Those leaving immediately after the film had mixed feelings.
I enjoyed it.
Why?
Oh, because it was lighthearted and just an interesting movie to watch from a woman's point of view.
I just thought it was okay. I wasn't real impressed with it. It held my attention, but I couldn't say that I enjoyed it thoroughly.
I like Ben Gazzara.
But the movie all together?
John Ritter's is thick with Three's Company. I didn't like it at all, no.
Those staying inside got a chance to talk with director Bogdanovich and some of the cast members, including John Ritter. Questions range from the meaning of the picture to how did you manage to do all that filming in the middle of New York City traffic?
We had to change in little pizza places and beauty shops. Hi, we're making a film, and do you mind if we just take off our clothes here quickly? People would say, you're making a movie? Yeah, can I be in it? You'd go, sure, just walk across.
They All Laughed was one of the final films in the 4th annual San Diego International Film Festival, which ran for 10 days at the La Jolla Museum of Contemporary Art.
Still ahead on News 8, the Chargers are all tied up for first place. Hal Clement has highlights of the win, plus interviews with some of the players up next. Nice, quiet game.
You know, the Chargers want to keep people in their seats for the whole game. They get too far ahead, people leave in the third quarter, early in the fourth quarter, don't get their money's worth. This way, everybody gets to stay for the whole thing, and they get a good show for their bucks. Really, I was thinking, you know, the Chargers have had so much success the last few years that I think we can get a little spoiled here. Expect them to be awesome every week and just clobber the other guys. They were not awesome today, but the fact of the matter is they beat the Chiefs 22-20. They played well when they had to, and they won a game they had to win.
Win the big one when we have to, and I think today we played it down to the wire, and we came out on top, and that should prove a lot to a lot of people.
And Mr. Muncy was a major factor. Here he comes at you. And whether you're a defensive back or a TV viewer, it's a rather frightening thing to see coming at you. James Brooks up the middle here for 15 yards. This is in the first quarter. Chargers making it look easy at this point. It did not turn out to be an easy day, though. Muncy over the top for a touchdown, 7-0. But the Chiefs controlled the ball very well on the ground. Joe Delaney here ran for 117 yards. He is quick. And James had not scored from 2 yards out, 7-7 tie. Second quarter, Dan Fouts passing to Charlie Joyner. He is so slippery. He squirms loose from a defender here, picks up 29 yards. And then Fouts to the rookie tight end, Eric Sievers, over the middle, 31-yard gain down to the 4-yard line. And on the next play, Muncy again, his second touchdown around right end. But, and it could have been a big but, Ralph Panerska missed the conversion. So the Chargers' lead was only 13-7. Late in the half, final 2 minutes of the half, in fact, Fouts to Brooks for a 19-yard gain here. Fouts did not have one of his better days, but he was good when he had to be at the end. 30 seconds left in the half. Ralph Panerska, the 29-yard field goal, 16-7 Chargers. The Chiefs then fumbled the kickoff. The Chargers recovered with 19 seconds left in the half. Fouts to Wes Chandler, who put on some good moves down to the 10-yard line. A pass interference call gave the Chargers the ball on the 1. With 3 seconds left, they decided to pass up the touchdown. Ralph kicked another field goal, 19-7 at the half. But the second half was another story. Chiefs quarterback Bill Kenny to Henry Marshall here. Strange play. Watch Pete Shaw knock the ball loose. Goes right to J.T. Smith. And that play gained 56 yards. Better to be lucky than good sometimes. But the Chiefs are good, too. Kenny to Billy Jackson for the touchdown here. They added a field goal to make it 19-17. Fourth quarter, Chiefs had a 3rd and 12. Kenny somehow got away, scrambled for the first down. They got another big first down on a penalty, and Nick Lowry kicked a 32-yard field goal to put the Chiefs on top, 20-19. The Charger offense had not scored a point in the second half, but then they went to work. Third down, Fouts to Joyner here for a big first down, and then the play of the game. 4th and 9 at the Chiefs' 47. Fouts to Chandler, 23-yard gain, first down, big play. Then Fouts to James Brooks, who took it down to the Chiefs' 12-yard line. Basically, they were getting it all set up for Rolfe. 13 seconds left, 22-yard field goal attempt, and it was perfect. Chargers took the lead, 22-20.
Especially today, because the extra point, I wanted a chance to win it. It's never automatic, and if you look at the films, I think you'll see them really coming. They made an excellent effort to block it, but you also feel you have to get it just for the guys that put out today.
The Chiefs had a final gasp. 6 seconds left. Kenny put it up for grabs. J.T. Smith got it somehow. He lateraled to Henry Marshall, but Mike Williams with the saving tackle. Chargers win 22-20.
I feel that if we have enough time and enough heart out there, that we're going to get it done, and that's what we had today.
It was frustrating for us. I think we need a course in anatomy. We have to discover the circulatory system and where that jugular vein is, having them down 19-7. We ought to be able to put them away. And it's frustrating we didn't, but it's nice to come back and win like we did.
Oh, maybe it wasn't a work of art, but it was a very important win. Chargers now 6-3, tied for first with the Chiefs in the AFC West. I'll get it out. The Bengals come to town next week. They beat Houston today 34-21. Ken Anderson threw 3 touchdown passes, this one to Chris Collingsworth. Bengals are also 6-3. Some other highlights. Jets beat the Giants 26-7. Richard Todd with a touchdown to Wesley Walker. The Bills beat Cleveland 22-13. Joe Ferguson threw 3 touchdown passes to Joe Cribbs. This one covered 60 yards. Atlanta bombed the Saints, I mean literally, 41-10. Steve Bartkowski threw 3 touchdown bombs to Alfred Jenkins. Jenkins is only 5'9", around 150 pounds, but he can get deep. Here they go again. Bartkowski to Jenkins for a touchdown. Falcons easy winners. Tampa Bay beat the Bears 20-10. Doug Williams an 81-yarder to Jimmy Giles here. So the Bears, after beating the Chargers last week, getting back to doing what they do best, which is lose. The 49ers keep astonishing people. They beat the Steelers 17-14. Joe Montana, touchdown pass to Charles Young. Other scores today, Miami beat Baltimore. Everybody else does. Green Bay over Seattle. Dallas over the Eagles. That's a big game. Rams beat Detroit. Oakland over New England. Washington, easy win over St. Louis. Now, most of the sporting attention in San Diego today naturally was centered on the Charger game, but there was a pretty hot event up at Carlsbad Raceway. They call this the Super Bikers. Maybe the title's a little bit overrated, but some of the top motorcycle riders from all the different kinds of racing were there. Motocross, road racing, dirt track, speedway racers, all competing against each other. The course part dirt, part asphalt, the idea being theoretically to figure out who is the best all-around motorcycle racer. And for the second straight year, Steve Wise, who is a motocross rider, was the winner. And I want to tell you one NBA game tonight, Portland beating Seattle 104-94. You thought the Chargers had it all the way, huh?
Well, sort of.
Okay. Glad you have confidence.
Always confidence. Back with the weather in just a moment. How about a little rain?
Yeah, it would be nice. It's been so darn dry, but there's nothing coming down. We thought maybe for a time yesterday by midweek, but now that looks like no go at all. It's just too dry, too much high pressure. One thing about a good old Santa Ana, it sure clears the air. Take a look at these films now. This is on the road coming down from Ramona to Poway. And still up in the hills there, and you can see that's clear all the way to the ocean. Just a gorgeous day today. Some county temperatures now, Borrego with an 86. Windy conditions slowly decreasing tonight and tomorrow morning. They should be gone by that time in the mountains and the coastal canyons, too. Mount Laguna, 59. They had a low of 43. Ramona in the mid-80s. 90s for Escondido and El Cajon. Up here at Fallbrook, high 80s around La Mesa, Lemon Grove, mid-80s for Chula Vista, South Bay, and around State University and Montgomery Field. Mid to high 70s right along the coast. And downtown Lindbergh Field, 82 today, and we had a low of 54. Here's the Western States satellite map. This will show you how clear it was through all of the west. There was a big wide band of clouds there just approaching the northwest coast, but as I said, just high pressure is just too dominant. What that will probably do is slip down into Oregon, maybe bring them a few showers. It's doubtful it will even get into Northern California, probably slide on eastward. Los Angeles with a high of 92 today, all clear in the western third of the country. Here's where the weather is around this low here. Some sections getting 1 to 3 inches of rain, and behind that, cold, gusty winds up to 40 miles per hour with snow flurries in western Kansas. They've got Stockman advisories up there tonight. And Oklahoma City with a high of only 48. Compare that with a 65 here at Kansas City. Eastern third of the nation looking good. New York, 59. Washington, 67. Okay, to the forecast. It'll be clear tonight, sunny and mild tomorrow. Slow cooling trend. A couple of degrees cooler by tomorrow and a couple more degrees cooler than that by Tuesday, and the gusty winds decreasing slowly in the mountains. Beaches tomorrow in the low 70s, coast about 78, inland 84. I never really did tell you how dry it was. The humidity was down to 13%.
That's dry.
Yeah, that's dry.
That's dry enough. Back in just a moment. There's a dome the size of a stadium in the Mount St. Helens crater, and it's growing tonight, and scientists say a series of non-explosive eruptions are continuing. That means fresh volcanic material is being pushed up from the volcano's core and is expanding the dome. At Cape Canaveral, the Space Shuttle has been all loaded up with food in preparation for Wednesday's launch. Astronauts Joe Engle and Richard Truly will be eating foods with names you just don't see in the supermarket: thermostabilized peaches, rehydratable sausage, irradiated bread, and, of course, freeze-dried bananas. In less than an hour, the world's youngest nation will be 1 day old. The nation is called Antigua. It's in the Caribbean. It was formed by combining the islands of Antigua and Barbuda. British rule ended at midnight, and to help celebrate, 5 British warships fired off a 21-gun salute. There were quite a few UFOs over Ramona this weekend, unusual flying objects, that is. News 8's Jesse Macias has the story.
Aviation enthusiasts swarmed to the Ramona airport this weekend to take in the annual fly-in. Aircraft of every age and description was on display. On the ground, people got real close-up looks at such vintage craft as this 1943 Howard with a 450-horsepower engine. In the air, everyone was dazzled with gyrocopters and biplanes dipping about in the stiff winds. Now here's an interesting plane that's catching a lot of people's attention. If you look closely, you see the cockpit in the front, but the propeller's way in the back. Now this homemade plane comes complete with canards and winglets. This radical departure to home-built airplanes is really catching on. The planes are assembled with fiberglass, epoxy, and other assorted materials. They're much lighter than conventional single-engine planes, yet can hit speeds of 180 miles an hour with a range of 2,000 miles. Cost $10,000. But how does it perform in the air?
Such an unbelievable airplane. You ask a little of it, and it gives you a lot, and it wants to do a lot more. It loves to roll, and I just love to go along. It's stall-proof, and that's something that other airplanes do. It shouldn't be allowed. It's simple, efficient. It's just a hell of a great airplane.
And probably the best feature of the very easy plane, the wings just unbolt for easy storage. Jesse Macias, News 8, Ramona.
Well, we have to fly now. That's our news for this Sunday night. Thanks for watching from the weekend, folks. Have a safe week.